I'm a musician because I've always loved music.
I grew up in a family of musicians, and I was surrounded by music, and it was just always a part of my life.
I've been a musician as long as I can remember, and it's just something I keep coming back to. Whenever I think about giving it up and doing a proper job, it's just something that I have to do.
I have been a musician since I was probably about 4 or 5, and before that I was sitting around listening to music.
It's just sheer gift that I get to spend my life doing music. What we're attempting to do is take the world's oldest songbook and make it new again.
The ancient Psalms, I think, speak of humanity in so many ways and at so many different levels.
And one of the first things you have to come to grips with is the meandering nature of the Psalms.
The process of converting ancient Hebrew into modern English songs is really about understanding, first of all, the heart, the intent, the meaning of the psalmist.
So we weren't confined to actually having to fit in a modern contemporary song format.
You're thinking in ways that maybe on your own you wouldn't. I just think that there's something really beautiful that comes from that.
And the SHIYR Poets join us now in the studio. Great to have you here, guys.
Hello. Great to be here.
Great to be here.
Now, Brian, it's good to have you back here from Abbotsford. And many people know a lot of your songs from worship in church. Some might recognize Come Now Is the Time to Worship, or Faithful One, or Refiner's Fire. But now the SHIYR Poets, spelled SHIYR. Tell us about the name.
Well, shir is a Hebrew word, which just means singing, musical happening. And we are singing the ancient Hebrew poetry and prayers in English.
So it's a brand new project, a brand new band. Why this? Why this avenue of music?
Wow. I mean, I've been drawn to the Psalms most of my life, but a few years ago, going through a very dark, disorientating time, I found I lost my words. And I went a couple of years without doing any writing, and finally I realized there are these ancient words, these human words, that are sometimes dark and difficult, that could be my words. Well, that had been my words, you know. It's not like it was new to me, but it became survival to me to read the Psalms and then began to sing them. And then for me it was like, I don't want to do this alone. And so it was a sense of, I want to form a band with my friends, and we're gonna sing these Psalms together.
So introduce us to your friends.
Calum Rees, we met in England probably almost 20 years ago. He played drums for me at an event we were doing, and just a real bond.
1996, changed your life?
Oh, it did change my life. Yes, meeting you changed my life. Teresa grew up in Winnipeg. We actually met briefly once in Manitoba years ago, and then she ended up moving to Abbotsford and became friends with my wife, Joyce, and that's how that connection started. And then Brian Thiessen and I have been friends since we were little boys, and he's put up with me for a whole lot of years, so he gets some extra stars for that, that's for sure.
And together you make beautiful music. Oh. And so we're going to get to hear some of that music in a few minutes.
So, Calum, share what your kind of inspiration for being part of this unique band.
Yeah, well, part of my background is coming from an entertainment family, if you like. My dad's a rock and roll drummer, 51 years into his career, playing with people like Tom Jones and AC/DC. He's the bald drummer for AC/DC. So that was my background of music. When I started following Jesus at the age of 20, I had just come out of the recording industry as a recording engineer. And this album, doing the songs that we're doing with the Psalms, reflects my heart for music and why I do music, as opposed to the entertainment side of music. I much prefer to do this kind of music. So that's why I'm involved with the SHIYR Poets.
Teresa, your thoughts on the project?
Well, first and foremost, just having a creative outlet with friends has been an awesome experience. But for me, having an artistic temperament and just sitting down with the Psalms over the years, it's always been a safe place for me to go. It speaks my language, and makes sense to me. And so being able to put that to music and to really immerse ourselves in that just feels really special to me. And yeah, it feels like a place that you just kind of journey into, and you're safe and free to express all the different aspects of human emotion that are all portrayed in the Psalms. Yeah.
And Brian, I know you have a connection, a lifetime connection with the other Brian, but there's got to be another reason why you're involved in the project. What is it?
Yeah, well, obviously relationship can't be overlooked as a priority. But yeah, just as an artistic person, you always want fresh expression. And so this actually gives a good platform to do things which maybe haven't been tried before. I'm not sure if it has. And then on the other side of things, it's a connection with humanity, not just the ones that exist today in our world, but with humanity, historical, yeah,
absolutely,
4,000 years or so. So it's those are some of my interests. Obviously, there's things about the Psalms which don't connect with us. With a warrior language and things that don't relate.
But then again, there are.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So there's struggles, but yet there is this deep connection with humanity. And
I was so excited when I heard that you guys had taken on this project, because a number of years ago we went through a very difficult season in life, and I found myself in the middle of the night opening the Psalms and just looking for guidance, for help, for assurance that God is there. God is that strong tower that we need to run into. God is that rescuing one when we're brokenhearted. And I love that you're going through the Psalms chronologically. You started with Psalms 1, and you're going straight through.
Yeah, why do it that way? There's 150 Psalms. That's a
it's gonna take you a while.
Mammoth project, but you're starting the first album that covers 1 to 10. But why in order?
I think that, remember, I was starting in a period of great disorientation and confusion and darkness. And so it was me trusting the ancient spiritual fathers. Okay, there must have been a reason why these psalms, these prayers, these poems were rendered this way and in this order. So I just started singing Psalm 1, and then I sang Psalm 2. And then when I got to Psalm 3, something just started clicking, because I was reading about the backstory. David's being hunted by his own son. He's struggling. He's incredibly honest, and yet he's still trusting. So it was that desire not to censor out the hard bits and trust some of what's gone before us can lead us in what we're going through today.
A lot of the Psalms are lament type of Psalms, and we might not in church settings not always want to sing those ones, because you want all the uplifting ones, but you include them all.
That's real life.
That's real life, and I believe we need to sing these honest songs because suffering people all over the world identify with these human emotions. We feel because God feels first. It's not like this, that the God we serve and worship is this, technical, unemotional God. He's an emotional being that has created us in his image. We have all of these feelings, and they're all part of our humanity.
And I love the fact that you're driving people back to the Bible. This is the Word of God. It is alive and breathing and relevant to our lives
inspired
today. Absolutely. And speaking of inspired, we're going to get to hear some of this
music.
We're
going to send you guys off to get ready to
we invite you to go on over to the music set
play
now.
And to do, I think it's Psalm 6, I understand they're going to be doing for us, which is a lament psalm. It's called Restore Me. But let me just mention, the CD is available on our e-store, the SHIYR Poets. Look for that, or call 1-800-265-3100 to get a copy. There's even a bonus track on here. There's Psalms 1 to 10 on it, but there's a bonus one based on the Dead Sea Scrolls, which makes it very fascinating. But here they are right now, the SHIYR Poets with Restore Me.